Any competition is about maximizing your strengths while minimizing your weaknesses. If you want to win, put yourself in a position where you can rely on your strengths and your weaknesses are irrelevant. Now, of course, competitive situations may force exposure of your weaknesses, but you should never ever volunteer your weaknesses to your competition as long as the choice is up to you. It's a very simple philosophy you apply to any game you play. Maximize your strengths, minimize your weaknesses. Unless you're the Hillary Clinton campaign, apparently. In that case, go ahead and hire disgraced former Democratic National Committee Chair Debbie Wasserman Schultz, fresh off the scandal of diminishing Bernie Sanders' campaign throughout the Democratic primary season. This decision baffles me. It takes Hillary's greatest weaknesses, her perceived corruption, her perceived dishonesty, and seems to say, yep, you know what? We're dishonest. We're corrupt. We're not going to try to hide it. In fact, we'll just go ahead and amplify it. If you're Bernie, it's not wise to feed claims you're a communist.
I know Stalin had some bad ideas, but he kept the millionaires and the billionaires under control.
If you're Trump, it's not wise to feed claims you're a Nazi.
Okay, listen to me. I have built tremendous camps, okay? Frankly, the best camps. Everyone loves to work at my camps. They say, Mr. Trump, the work has set me free.
And if you're Hillary, it's not wise to feed claims that you're a corrupt, cheating liar. So why was this decision made? Let's recap the facts before we try to understand it. On Friday, WikiLeaks released some 20,000 Democratic National Committee staff emails from Debbie Wasserman Schultz's 5-year tenure as committee chair. The leaks contain a lot of damning information, from collaboration with media outlets to rude discussion of major donors, but the main issue is widespread favoritism towards Hillary Clinton's campaign over Bernie Sanders. The DNC is supposed to maintain impartiality and conduct a fair primary election process. It looks like that was not the case, not surprising to many considering Debbie was a co-chair of Hillary's 2008 campaign. These email leaks confirm previous suspicions of committee bias and unfairness to Bernie. So these leaked emails give substance to long-standing allegations of unfairness to the Sanders campaign. Debbie resists pressure to resign, but ultimately caves over the weekend after a call from President Obama. None of this is particularly surprising until Debbie walks straight from disgrace as ousted DNC chair to a position as honorary chair with Hillary's campaign. That's right, straight from borderline cheating for Hillary to a leadership position in Hillary's campaign. And in seemingly shameless fashion, too. This wasn't hidden. There was a press release right away. It might as well have read, hey, thanks, Debbie, for rigging the system. You're just the type of crook we're looking for. Welcome aboard. And I'm not the only one greeting this move with a raised eyebrow. Media have questioned it.
Well, very interesting decision, though, by the Clinton campaign to essentially employ her, because then that is only going to make some Sanders people go, aha, this is her. She owes Debbie something, and that's why it's an interesting decision. It may only feed some conspiracy theories.
Democratic insiders have questioned it.
Listen, I think that she won, but it's hard to say that she won fair and square, because of there were so many complaints all along. It's not like
well, it's because of the emails now.
And on Monday morning, Debbie was greeted with boos at the convention in Philadelphia.
We must, under President Hillary Clinton, make sure that our economy works.
And those aren't protesters, mind you. Those are Democratic delegates booing her. This decision to hire Debbie is one of meaningful consequence for Hillary. It looks bad to her friends and her enemies alike. And that's why I can't understand the thinking in this decision. As an outside observer, it seems only to harm, not to help. So why would Hillary do it? We can probably only eliminate possibilities rather than find a concrete answer, but let's think about it anyway. Let's assume Hillary is a rational actor. That's a big assumption for some of you, but this decision only makes sense if the cost of damaged image for Hillary is outweighed either by a perceived gain or by a greater cost if Debbie is instead kicked to the curb where she rightfully belongs. Let's think about this as a best case scenario first. Let's say the Hillary campaign believes Debbie has some special campaign skills or some other asset that they simply can't pass up. It's hard to imagine what that gain might be. Her tenure as chair of the Democratic National Committee isn't particularly stellar. Did Debbie grow the party? No. Votes in the 2016 Democratic primaries were down 15% compared to 2008, the last time there was a contested primary, and Hillary actually received less votes this time around, even though she won now and lost then. Did Debbie raise a bunch of money? Not really. The Democratic National Committee's fundraising declined 27% from the 2010 midterm to the 2014 midterm under Debbie's leadership. Did they win elections, the ultimate goal? In the 2014 midterm, Democrats lost 13 seats in the House, 9 more in the Senate, in the midterm with the lowest voter turnout since 1942. And yeah, Obama won in 2012, and sure, Democrats picked up legislative seats then, but it's hard to argue that was Debbie's work and not the president's. At best, these are poor to mixed results for Debbie's tenure as committee chair, so it's hard to think she's some campaign genius Hillary simply can't pass on. So maybe it's her charisma? Her star power? Hard to argue that. At this point, she's booed harder than her look-alike Chad Kroger.
Look at this photograph. Every time I do, it makes me laugh.
All things considered, I don't think it's a perceived gain that motivates Hillary to bring Debbie into her campaign. So what's the alternative? It makes sense to bring Debbie in if the cost of pushing her away is worse than the bad PR of bringing her in. So what might that cost be? That's where we have to speculate. But it stands to reason, given their history, Hillary and Debbie share some private information. If the cost of that information leaking is unacceptably high, you might scratch the back of the person holding it, no matter how bad it makes you look. I don't want to wear a tinfoil hat, but it's the only way this move by Hillary's campaign makes any sense. It may surface later, it may not, but I am calling it now. There is more to this story than meets the eye. Campaigns don't just damage themselves unless they have good reason to. Amputation only makes sense when the alternative is death. Perhaps what's at stake for Hillary is the political equivalent. Thanks as always for listening and for supporting this channel. Always appreciate that thoughtful discussion down below and especially over on Twitter. That is @skag_3. You're always welcome to come hang out and chat in my live streams. Those are linked down in the description. Looking forward to it.